So good day everyone, I am Lazel Jane Saratao, your presenter for today. Our topic is all about environmental impact assessment. So as we go through to this topic or to better understand the topic, we will answer the following question. So number 1, what is environmental impact assessment? Number 2, what is the purpose of environmental impact assessment? Number 3, who is responsible for conducting the environmental impact assessment? Number 4, how will public participation be incorporated into the EIA process? Number 5, what is the scope of the assessment, including the study area and potential impacts? Number 6, how will the EIA results be used in decision making for the project? Number 7, how will the EIA be made available to the public? Number 8, are there any previous environmental assessment related to the project? So number 1, what is environmental impact assessment? So environmental impact assessment is the process that involves evaluating and predicting the likely impacts of a project on the environment during the construction, commissioning, operation, and abandonment. It is environmental impact assessment is a planning tool to assess the area implementing the activity. This is to ensure that the environment is safe from any activities given on the project. So this EIA happen during construction, in commissioning, operation, and abandonment. So it also include designing appropriate preventive measure, mitigating and enhancement measures to protect the environment and the community's welfare. So it also protect the livelihood of the community in the area. So the cumulative impact. So this is the results of the actions, projects, or activity in an area if the area wasn't undergo with the EIA or environmental impact assessment. So number 2, what is the purpose of the EIA? So the purpose of environmental impact assessment or EIA is to ensure that local planning authorities, LPAs, are fully informed of potential significant environmental impacts when deciding whether to grant planning permission for major development. So ito yung ang tunay na aim or goal ng EIA is yung mag-assess the area kung pasado ba or qualified ba sila na mabigyan ng certificate to conduct or to do their activities. So next is number 4, how will public participation be incorporated into the EIA process? So EIA regulations set out a procedure for identifying projects that should be subject to an environmental impact assessment and for assessing, consulting, and coming to a decision on those projects which are likely to have significant environmental effects. So before to conduct an environmental impact assessment, there are processes to be undergo by the project. So 5 stages to the EIA process or environmental impact assessment process. 1 is screening, determination by the LPA local planning authority as to whether a proposed project falls within the remit of the regulation, whether the area or whether the project follows the rules and regulations provided by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Scoping, determination of which environmental issues should be considered in the assessment. We must identify, or the EIA proponents or team must identify what issues present in the area that need to be assessed. So preparation, collecting the information necessary to determine the potential environmental effects. So this time we will gather information about the area, about the potential environmental effects that needs solutions or needs solution or an implementation of precautionary measures that could mitigate the effects and presentation of the results and environmental statement. Submission and consultation. So the once submitted with the planning application, statutory consultees and the public must be given an opportunity to give their views about the proposed development and the quality appropriateness of the submitted ES. So the submitted environmental impact assessment will then now will can be viewed by the consultees and the public, which they can also contribute in decision making whether the project must be granted or not. Next is decision making. So the local planning authority and or secretary of state should consider the environmental statement. So this is now where environmental statement already created. Views and comments together with other information relevant to their decision when deciding whether or not to allow the development. So the final stage, which is the given of certification to a project. So the Secretary of State should be considered the views and comments of the publics or the committee, whether the information stated in the environmental statement is relevant to their decisions. In this situation, whether the project are granted or not. So public participation are incorporated into the environmental impact assessment process through decision making. So public are involved also in deciding whether the environmental impact assessment is reliable or not, or correct. According to Article 6, Section 4 AIA Directive, the public must be given an early and effective opportunity to participate in the environmental decision-making process in which their decisions or their ideas can also be considered in making decisions before deciding whether the project are granted or not. So public participation increase the accountability and transparency in the decision making process. Mas yung mga contribution or mga ideas na ibinibigay ng mga tao or ng mga local communities, mas nagbibigay ito ng liwanag kung ano ba ang dapat gawin, sa area, or whether ang proyekto na gagawin is i-approve or hindi. So it also promotes public awareness of environmental issues. So public participation also will also inform the local community on what issues are present in the area that needs a solution. So what is the scope of the assessment, including the study area and potential impacts? So the scope of the environmental impact assessment are the physical factors. So the physical factors of the area, which is the air quality, water quality, solid waste disposal. So next is biological factors, introduction of diseases. Next is ecological factors, effect of human activities. Next is socio-economic factors, creation of employment opportunities to the local communities, recreational factors, and cultural impacts. So as part of the scope of the environmental impact assessment are the survey of the area, whether what environmental issues are present, review studies by others to describe the physical, chemical, and biological condition of the study area. So these review studies can be also contribute whether the environmental issues present in the past different or the same of the environmental issues present today. So assessment of local dredging and disposal needs. This is where the area has a compost pit or proper storage room for their chemicals or materials, so that the materials will be intact in the same place. Next is characterization of physical and chemical properties. Thus, the material they use can deeply harm the environment, or the chemical they use is too harmful or too much for the area. A preliminary evaluation of alternative management method and recommendations for further environmental evaluations. So the potential impacts of the environmental impact assessment is that we are able to avoid the circumstances that may occur if the given project is granted. So ahead of time, we are able to protect the area by implementing precautionary measures. Number 6. How will the EIA results be used in decision making for the project? So the EIA results is used in making the environmental impact statement. So this statement with the stated opinion and comments of the publics are reviewed and evaluated by the DNR, which affect their decisions whether the projects are approved or disapproved. So this environmental impact statement serves as an application for the environmental compliance certificate. So they will receive this certificate if the project is approved. Number 7. How will the EIA be made available to the public? So the EIA will be made available to the public through projects created by the government or private sectors that need to use a land area. After the assessment, the created environmental statement will be made available to the public, in which the public can provide or can give opinions, comments regarding to the environmental statement provided, which can affect the decision-making process. Whether the project can be granted a certificate to operate in the area. Number 8. Are there any previous environmental assessment related to the projects? Yes, there is. One of these projects are Visayas Base Load Power Project Secured Landfill Facility, in which it is conducted in pursuant to Presidential Decree number 1586 of 1978, known as the Philippine Environmental Impact Statement System, the main law that governs the country, signed by Ferdinand E. Marcos. So no project that can be implemented or conducted without securing an environmental compliance certificate. So basic project information: name of the project, Secure Landfill Facility Project, name of proponent, Provincial Government of Cebu, contact person, address, and the contact number. So the description of the EIA process. So they also gathered or created a team to assess the area. So these are the following: the Polygon General Engineering Consultancy, Biology Environmental Impact State Assessment, Provincial Planning and Development Office, Provincial Engineering Office, and CAPCO. So they also gathered or determined the status of the project. So the proposed project is still in the process of securing permits and clearances. So the study area. So they also determine how big their study area. So the study area will focus on the title property of the Provincial Government of Cebu, located in Barangay Tinaan, Naga, Cebu, and approximately 232,000 square meters will be developed into a secured. So the EIA methodology. So the initial environmental examination for this project encompasses the psychochemical, biological, socio-cultural dimensions of the affected environment. The study involves the following stages: the preliminary preparation, final preparation of and mobilization, baseline studies, eco-profiling and validation, impact identification and prediction, proposals of environmental mitigating measures that will mitigate and or offset negative impacts and enhance positive impacts, environmental management planning, and preparation of initial environmental examination report. After the assessment, so they see a few of the impacts if the project is conducted. So in ecological impacts, we have potential impact associated with marine ecology and water quality. So there will be a negative impacts towards the marine water quality during the construction of the retaining walls. So there will be also increase in turbidity, total suspended solids, and other water quality values for an organism to live. Next is the physical impacts. Inland, generation of solid waste and construction of waste. Air pollution caused by vehicle and the equipment. So in the socio-economic impacts, it also generates jobs for the publics and increase in business and economic activities. So note, the size and amount of detail in your EIA or environmental impact assessment depends on the size and scale of your activity and its potential environmental effects. So that will be the end of my presentation. Thank you for watching.